So finally, it's here, each and every question type that you can expect on SAT Math from circles. So first we have equations of circles, the types of questions that you can expect from equations of circles. Then we will do types of questions that you can expect from arc length and sector area, and then types of questions from degree and radian conversion. So the first type is when you have to find out the radius and or center of the circle when its equation is given in the standard form. Okay, so the standard form of the equation of a circle is given by x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square equals to r square, where you know that the h comma k, they are the coordinates of the center. So it's the easiest question that you can get. So you just have to compare this given equation. It says you have to find out the radius of the circle, just compare it with this standard form, and you know that this term on the right hand side, this is actually r square. So to get the value of r, we need to take its square root. So r will be square root of 121, so that's going to be 11. Now if you had to find out the center of the circle, so the center will be just -6 and -3. So you have to compare it with this equation. Okay, so the center will be -6 comma -3. Okay, the second type of question is same, finding radius and center from the equation, but this time the equation is given in the expanded form. Now when the equation is given in the expanded form, and if you have to find out the center of the circle, all you have to do is, so the expanded form, you get the expanded form when you expand this binomial. So you have two binomials. One is this binomial and you have this binomial. When you expand these two binomials using a plus b whole square, then you get the expanded form. Now, when you have to find out the center or the radius, all you need to do is to first we'll see how to find out the center. So look at the coefficient of the x term. So it is 20. So write 20 here. And then look at the coefficient of the y term. So that's 16. And you need to divide these two coefficients by -2, divide by -2. Okay, so then whatever you get will be the center of the circle. So this is going to give you -10 comma -8. So answer choice B will be right. This is how you find out the center. And to find out the radius, radius is given by square root of h square plus k square minus c. Now where h and k, you already know, h and k are the coordinates of the center, and c is the constant term. So here c is not -20. C is that term which is on the left side. Okay, so on the right hand side there should be 0. So you need to rewrite this equation: x square plus 20x plus y square plus 16y. So add 20 on both sides, you get plus 20 equals to 0. Okay, so there should be 0 on the right side. Then whatever constant term you have on the left hand, that is the value of c. Okay, so you can put the values in this expression. So -10 whole square plus -8 whole square and minus 20. So this will be the radius. Now there is another way that you can find out the center and the radius. For example, let's take this type of question. Here you have to find out the radius of the circle. You can also do these problems on DESMOS. What you need to do is you need to type this equation on DESMOS. So you have 2x square minus 6x plus 2y square plus 2y equals to 45. Then you need to take your cursor and select the topmost point and the bottommost point. Okay, and once you do that, you can note this point down. Okay, and then you need to find out the distance between these 2 points. Okay, so first of all, we can note down these 2 points. Okay, now the distance between the topmost point and the bottommost point will give us the length of the diameter. So I'll type distance, and then we'll type the 2 points. So the 2 points are 1.5 comma 4.5 and 1.5 comma -5.5. Okay, so this distance is actually the distance between this point and this point. So that's the diameter, and the radius will be half of that. So radius will be 5. Okay, so 5 is correct. So there are 2 ways. You can either use this method to find out the center and the radius. Okay, and the other method is using DESMOS. Now, okay, what if you have to find out the center of this circle using DESMOS? So on DESMOS, you need to find out, so the center will be the midpoint of the diameter. So you type midpoint and you can copy these 2 points, copy and paste it. Okay, so this point, now it has also marked this point in green color. So this is the center of the circle, 1.5 comma negative 0.5. Okay, so I would say that if you have to find out only the center, then you use this method, that divide the coefficient of x term and coefficient of y term by -2. And if you have to find out the radius and you don't want to do this ugly square root calculation, then to find out the radius, you can use DESMOS. Just make sure that here the coefficient of the x square term should be 1. See, in this case, coefficient of x square is 2. Coefficient of y square is also 2. Okay, so you need to factor out 2. Okay, so you'll get this equation. Okay, then divide by 2. Okay, and then you take the coefficients of x and y. So coefficient of x -3, coefficient of y is 1, divide by -2, divide by -2. So -3 divided by -2 and coefficient of y is 1, divide by -2. So that's what we got, 1.5 comma -0.5. So this is the center of the circle. Okay, the next question type that we have is the opposite thing, that writing equation of circle from center and radius, or if n points of diameter are given. Okay, so here we have to do the opposite. Now the radius is given as 5 and center is given, and we have to find out the equation of the circle, and all the answer choices are in the standard form. Okay, so it's very easy. You know that equation of the circle is given by x minus h whole square. Okay, so you know that equation of the circle is given by x minus h whole square plus y minus k whole square equals to r square. We know that this is h and this is k. So you'll get x minus -8. So x plus 8 whole square plus y minus 6 whole square equals to 5 square, which is 25. So answer choice B is correct. Now, let's suppose that all these answer choices had been given in the expanded form instead of the standard form. Then, in order to find out the equation in the expanded form, you can just expand these binomials using a plus b whole square. So x square plus 16x plus 64. So I'm using a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. And if there is a minus, so this term is minus. So plus y minus 6 whole square will be y square minus 12y plus 36 equals to 25. And then you can simplify. So x square plus y square plus 16x minus 12y. And you can simplify what would be 64 plus 36 minus 25. There should be 0 on the right side. Okay, now another way to ask this problem is, we have to find out the equation of the circle, but this time they have not given the radius and they have neither given the center, but they've given the endpoints of the diameter. Okay, so if let's suppose this is the circle, and let's say this is the diameter with this point as a center. So we have the endpoints. So let's say this is 2, -6, and this is -8, 4. And in order to write the equation of a circle, we need two things. We need the radius and we need the center. Now, obviously, the radius is going to be the half of the distance between these 2 points. And the center is going to be the midpoint of the line segment joining these 2 points. So again, you'll go to DESMOS and you'll use the distance formula. Just type distance and then type these 2 points and divide this distance by 2. That will be the radius. Okay, and to find out the center, you just use the midpoint formula. So type midpoint and these 2 points, so you'll get the center. And then you can write the equation. Okay, the next question type is when one endpoint of diameter is given and you have to find out the other endpoint. And also the equation of the circle is given. So this is the equation of the circle. When the equation of the circle is given, obviously you can find out its center. So let's suppose that this is the circle. You know that its center is 6, -5. So this point is 6, -5. And it says point P is on the circle. So there is a point P there is a point P which is on the circle, and it has coordinates 10, comma, -5. And if PQ is a diameter of the circle, then what are the coordinates of point Q? So if we have a diameter, so obviously the diameter has to pass through the center. So this point is Q, and we have to find out the center, and we have to find out the coordinates of point Q. Okay, so now obviously you know that center is actually the midpoint of this line segment, the line segment which is connecting P and Q. Okay, so we know that 6. Now, how do you find out the midpoint of any of line segment connecting 2 points? So if you have 2 points x1, y1, and x2, y2, and there is a line connecting these 2 points, you want to find out the midpoint. So you take the average of x1 and x2, so x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So this will give you the coordinates of the midpoint. Now you need to think that 6 is actually the midpoint of which 2 points. Now 6 is actually half of 12, right? 6 is half of 12. So what do you add to 10 so that you get a 12? Well, you add 2. 2 plus 10 will give us 12, and half of 12 will be 6. So here it will be 2, x coordinate will be 2. And then -5 is half of what? -5 is half of -10. So that means here you add another -5. So -5 plus -5 will be -10, and negative half of -10 will be -5. So here you have -5. So answer choice A is correct. Okay, the next question type is this, when they will tell you that there will be 2 circles, and they will give some relationship between the radius of the first circle and the radius of the other circle. So it says radius of one circle is, let's say, 3 times the radius of the other circle, 3 times or 2 times or whatever. Okay, so here you could have anything. Okay, so let's look at an example. So it says circle A in the xy plane has this equation, and circle B has the same center as circle A. The radius of circle B is 2 times the radius of circle A. So you can see that there are 2 circles, and radius of circle B is 2 times the radius of circle A. Then it says the equation defining circle B is given. So equation of circle B is given, and we have to find out the value of K. So obviously this K is the square of the radius of circle B, right? So now you know that radius of circle B is 2 times the radius of circle A. Now this is circle A, and this is square of radius of circle A. So that means radius of circle A will be square root of 4, so that will be 2. Okay, so radius of circle A is 2, so that means radius of circle B will be 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, and so K will be square of 4, so 4 square. So value of K will be 16. Then another question type is when a circle is tangent to a line. Okay, so it says, what is the equation of a circle tangent to the line y equals to 2 and having a center at 3, 5? Now that line which is tangent is y equals to 2, and now you can have any line as tangent to a circle. Okay, you should know what is the meaning of tangent. A tangent is a line that touches any curve at exactly 1 point. Okay, so the curve here is a circle. So it says that there is a circle which is tangent to the line y equals to 2. Okay, y equals to 2 will be a horizontal line passing through this point. So this is the line y equals to 2. So we have a circle, and that circle is touching this line, and it has a center at 3, 5. So 3, 5 will be, say, 1, 2, 3, and this is 2, so 3, 4, 5. So this point is 3, 5. So we have to draw a circle such that its center should be 3, 5, and it should touch this line y equals to 2. Okay, so the only way that you can do is, so the circle will touch this line. Okay, now if it is touching this line, so you know that this is the center. Okay, so the center, we can easily find out the coordinates of the center are already given, 3, 5. Okay, now you can count. So your circle will be kind of like this. So this is 3 units, right? 1, 2, 3. So the radius is going to be 3 units. You don't need to draw the entire circle. You know that the radius is going to be 3. So now you can write the equation of the circle. X minus 3 whole square plus y minus 5 whole square equals to 3 square, which is 9. Okay, the next question type is, yes, when we do translation on with circles. So translation's effect on radius and center. Now, if we're doing only translation just means that you take an object and you shift it somewhere else, right? We are not changing its orientation. We are not changing its size. So first thing that you need to understand is if you have a circle and you're just shifting it either right or left or up or down, then with that, you need to understand that its size is not changing. If you're just shifting it from one place to another, then its size is not going to change. Only its center will change. Right now, say this is the center, okay? Then obviously when you shift it, then the coordinates of the center will change, but the radius will not change. That's the concept that you need to understand. Now, the question says circle A has equation this. In the xy plane, circle B is obtained by translating the circle A to the right by 4 units. So this, let's suppose that this is circle A, and we are shifting this circle right. Translating means we are shifting. We are shifting it to the right by 4 units. So right now, the coordinates of this circle are 7, -3. Right now, the coordinates are 7, -3. When we shift it right by 4 units, so whenever we are shifting it right by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so only the x coordinate of this center will change. We're not moving it up or down, so y coordinate will remain same. Okay, only the x coordinate will change. And so right now, if it is 7, so when you shift it right to 4 units, then it will become 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so 11, -3, these are the new coordinates. And we are not changing the sign, so the radius will remain same. So the equation of the circle will be x minus 11 whole square plus y plus 3 whole square equals to 1. So answer choice C is correct. Okay, the next question type is when we have to find out a variable when its equation is given in the standard form. See, so it says that some information is given about the circle, its center is given, its radius is given, and its equation is given, but they have removed the values of, like they have removed the coefficients of x term, y term, and the constant term. We have to find out the value of C, the constant term. So if you know how to write the equation in the expanded form, then you can easily find out the values of A, B, and C. Okay, so first of all, write the equation in the standard form. So equation will be x minus -5 whole square plus y minus 2 whole square equals to 9 square. So it will be x plus 5 whole square plus y minus 2 whole square equals to 81. And now in the question, the equation is given in the expanded form. So we will expand the binomial. So this is going to be x, no need to write the parentheses. So x square plus 10x plus 25 plus y square minus 4y plus 4 equals to 81. So now you don't need to look at the values of A and B. We just need to find the value of C. So just collect the constant term. So 25 plus 4 minus 81. So 25 plus 4 minus 81. This will be the answer. This will be the value of C. Okay, the next question type is, yeah, so they will tell you, like they'll give you some information. So the next question type is when a point lies on the circle. They'll give you some information about the circle, and they'll also tell us that there is a point that lies on the circle. And we'll have to find out something. Okay, so first says the graph of this equation is a circle. The point 6, C lies on this circle. What is the value of C? So you need to understand that if you have a circle and we know the center of the circle is 3, 5. So this is 3, 5. And if there is a point 6, C on the circle, doesn't matter where it is, So let's say this point is 6 comma C. Okay. So if we connect the center and this point, then this line segment, which is connecting the center and the point, this is nothing but the radius, right? And we also know that the radius of the circle is square root of 9. So square root of 9, which is 3. Okay. And if we find out that the distance between these 2 points, that will be also 3 because that will be also the radius. So you need to use the distance formula, apply the distance formula between these 2 points. So square root of 3 minus 6 whole square plus 5 minus c whole square. All of this will be equal to 3 because this is the radius. Okay, so now you need to simplify this. I'm going to square both sides of the equation. So first of all, 3 minus 6 will be -3. -3 square will be 9. So 9 plus 5 minus c whole square will be 25 minus 10c plus c square will be equal to 9 because I am squaring this entire equation. 9 and 9 will get cancelled. Now you have a quadratic equation. I would say that you solve it on DESMOS, you'll get the value of c. And you have a similar question, this one. Its center is given and it's given that a point lies on the circle. We have to find out the equation of the circle. So you will find out the distance between these 2 points, and that will be the radius. And so actually you can write the left side of the equation right now. It's going to be x plus 4 whole square plus y minus 5 whole square equals to r square. And to get the value of r, just find out the distance between these 2 points. For this, you can use DESMOS. Just type distance and then these 2 points. The next question type is in which you have to tell whether a point lies in the interior or exterior of a circle. Now, there are very less chances of seeing this question on the SAT because this is really simple. You can just type this equation on DESMOS and type these points and then see which point does not lie in the interior. So for example, let's type this on DESMOS. So we have x plus 3 whole square plus y minus 1 whole square equals to 25. So this is a given circle. And now you can type all the points one by one. So -7 comma 3. It is in the interior. Then answer choice C is 0 comma 0, which is the origin. So we can clearly see that origin is inside the circle. Then answer choice B is -3 comma 1. -3 comma 1 is actually the center of the circle. So center of the circle will be obviously inside the circle. And the last point 3, then the only answer choice which is left is 3 comma 2. Now, yes, this is outside the circle. So this lies in the exterior of the circle. So that's it. This covers all the question types from equations of circles. Now let's see the question types from arc length and sector area. So for arc length and sector area, the first question type is where, very simple, you have to find out either the arc length or you have to find out the sector area, and the central angle will be given and the radius will be given. So obviously we know that arc length is given by 2 pi r times the central angle over 360 degrees. So, and the sector area is given by pi r square times theta over 360 degrees. So we need only 2 things, the radius and the central angle, right, to find out the arc length or sector area. Now, sometimes they will not give you this information directly. Like instead of giving the radius directly, they might give you the circumference of the circle, or they might give you the area of the circle. And then you have to find out the arc length and sector area. So you know that if circumference of the circle is given, then you can find out the value of r from there. And if the area of the circle is given, so just equate the area formula and find out the value of r from there, and then put the value in the formula. Now let's take this question, the first type. In this question, it says in the figure above, AB is an arc of a circle with radius 27. So radius is given and central angle is given. We have to tell if the length of the arc is k pi, what is the value of k? We have to find the value of k, and length of the arc is given. So you know that length of the arc is going to be 2 pi r, r is 27, times the central angle, which is 40 degrees over 360 degrees. So this goes 9 times, and then this goes, 27 goes 3 times. So you know 2 times 3 is 6, so 6 pi. Now this is the length which is equal to k pi. So value of k is equal to 6. Okay, the next question type is the opposite of this, in which they will give you the arc length or sector area that will be given, and you'll have to find out either the radius or the central angle or the circumference or the area of the circle. For example, in this question, it says the sector below has an arc length of 20 centimeters and an angle of 125 degrees. Calculate the length of x. So they have given the arc length and the central angle, and we have to find out x. X is the radius, right? So you know the formula of arc length is 2 pi r times the central angle over 360. Well, arc length is given, so 20 is equal to 2 pi r is x. Central angle is 125 over 360. So from here, you solve and find out the value of x. The next question type, okay, we have a similar question type here. And say the length of arc AB is pi. What is the area of sector OAB? Okay, so we have to find out the area of sector OAB. So you know that area is pi r square times the central angle over 360. Now r is not given. Central angle is given as 36. So pi r square times 36 over 360 degrees. Now to find the value of r, they have given the length of the arc AB. We'll use this information and you will put pi is equal to 2 pi r times the central angle over 360. So 36 over 360. And from here, we'll find the value of r, and then we'll put that value here and get the area of the sector. The next question type is when an arc is given in degrees, and we have to find its associated angle. This is the easiest question type. It says point O is the center of the circle. The measure of arc RS on the circle is 100 degrees. What is the measure in degrees of its associated angle ROS? So in this question type, we have a circle and O is the center. Then we have an arc RS. Now you can take any two random points R and S anywhere on the circle. Let's say this is R and this is S. And then when they say that measure of arc RS is 100 degrees, so when they're measuring arc in degrees, they're actually, the other meaning of this is this angle is 100 degrees. Okay, so simply angle ROS will be just 100 degrees. The next question type is when arc length or sector area is what fraction of the circle? Oh yeah. So they will give us the arc length or area of the sector, and they will ask that this arc is what fraction of the circumference of the circle. Or they will give the area of the sector and they'll say that this sector is what fraction of the area of the circle. Okay, so it's very simple. So it's given that points A and B lie on a circle with radius 1, radius is 1, and arc AB has length pi over 3. What fraction of the circumference of the circle is the length of arc AB? So this arc has length pi over 3. So that means it is subtending an angle of pi over 3 at the center. Okay, and if you have to find out that this arc is what fraction of the circumference of the circle, so you just take this angle, pi over 3, over the total angle. The total angle, that means this angle. So the total angle is nothing but 360, and 360 is nothing but 2 pi. So we'll say 2 pi. So pi over 3 over 2 pi, so you'll get 1/6. Okay, next question type is when you have two arcs on the same circle. So, you know, there is a minor arc and there is a major arc. Let's see this question. It says the circle above has center O. The length of arc ADC is 5 pi. So this is ADC, which is a minor arc. Its length is pi. And X is equal to 100 degrees. So the angle, its central angle is 100. What is the length of arc ABC? Now we have to find out the length of the major arc of the circle. So you need to know, this is actually very intuitive, that the ratios of the lengths of these two arcs, so the ratio of length of one arc to the ratio of the other arc. Okay, so the ratio of the minor arc to the major arc, this ratio will be same as the ratio of their central angles. So theta 1 over theta 2. Okay, so arc 1 is suppose ADC, so its length is 5 pi. Okay, so 5 pi over the other arc is ABC, we don't know its length. This will be same as theta 1, the central angle of ADC, which is 100 degrees. And over theta 2. Theta 2 is this another angle. So this is going to be 360 minus 100, so that's going to be 260 degrees. You can cross multiply and find out the length of arc ABC from here. The other question type is when we have an isosceles triangle in a circle. This is often tested a lot. So in this concept, you need to understand that whenever you see a triangle inside a circle such that two sides of that triangle are actually the radii. See, this is a triangle, triangle AOB, and the two sides AO and BO, they're nothing but the radii of the circle, right? And we know that all radii are congruent. So that means this is actually an isosceles triangle. And when you have isosceles triangle, then we also know that this angle will be same as this angle. So it says point O is the center of the circle. The measure of angle OAB is 30 degrees. Oh, great. So we know that this is 30. So obviously this will be also 30. If the length of OC is 18, OC is 18. Now OC is also another radius. What is the length of arc AB? We have to find out the length of this arc. To have the length of this arc, we need this angle, and this angle will be 180 minus 30 minus 30. So 180 minus 60, so this will be 120. So length of arc AB will be 2 pi r. R is 18 times central angle, which is 120 over 360. You can simplify this and you get the answer. The next question type that you can get, they are based from inscribed shapes. Now, I've not taken an exact question, but a concept. This concept is tested a lot. When a circle is inscribed inside a square, or a square is inscribed in a circle, or you can also have a rectangle inscribed in a circle. So you need to understand a concept that when a circle is inscribed in a square, then the diameter of the circle is actually the same as the side of the square. Okay, so and diameter is actually nothing but 2 times the radius, right? So now that means if the side of the square is given, then you can find out the radius. So radius will be side of the square divided by 2, right? It's clearly visible, right? You don't need to memorize this. You can see that the radius will be half of the side of the square. And when a square is inscribed in a circle, then the diagonal of the square, the diagonal of the square will be same as the diameter of the circle. Okay, and diagonal of a square is actually given by root 2 times the side of the square by using Pythagorean theorem. So if this is a square and this is a side, so in order to find out the diagonal, use Pythagorean theorem. So it's going to be square root of s square plus s square. So square root of 2s square. So this is square root of 2s square. Sorry, s. So diagonal of the square, root 2s, that will be same as diameter of the circle. Diameter is 2 times r. So this is a relationship. So radius of the circle will be equal to root 2 over 2 times the side of the square. Okay. And one more thing is if you connect this corner with the diameter, you get this sort of triangle. This is going to be 45, 45, 90 triangle. So this information can be also used. That's it. That's it for arc length and sector area, all the question types. Now let's look at the next and final category, degree and radian conversion. First of all, you should know the formulas of conversion. So if any angle is given in radians, okay, let's say the angle is 2 pi, okay, and you want to convert it into degrees. So all you need to do is just replace pi by 180 degrees, okay? So 2 pi will be 2 times 180. So you get 360 degrees. So if you have to convert from radians to degrees, we'll just replace pi by 180 degrees. Okay. And if you have to convert from degrees to radians, so you will just, so let's say you have 360 degrees, you have to convert it into radians. Then just divide this by 180 and put a pi here. So 360 divided by 180 will be 2. So the answer is 2 pi radians. Okay. So when you have to convert from radians to degrees, you will remove the pi and multiply by 180 degrees. And when you have to convert from degrees to radians, then you will add a pi, like just write a pi and divide by 180 degrees. Okay, so let's see some question types. This one says the measure of angle Z is 60 degrees. What is the measure in radians of angle Z? So it's given in degrees, we have to find it in radians. So for conversion of degree to radians, just divide by 180 degrees. So you get pi over 3. So this is going to be 1 over 3, and you just write a pi. So this is pi over 3 radians. Okay, this one says, this one is in radians. We have to find it in degrees. So just remove pi and multiply this by 180. Okay, so this gives us 81 degrees. Then for this one, what is the value of tangent of 92 pi over 3? Now, this question is a joke. You can just type this on DESMOS, like literally go to DESMOS and type tan 92 pi over 3 and you get the answer. Then another question type is the number of radians in a 720 degree angle can be written as a pi, where a is a constant. What is the value of a? So first convert it into radians. So you have 720 divide by 180. So you get, so this is actually equal to 4, and just write a pi. So that this is 4 pi. So 4 pi is equal to a pi. So value of a is 4. So that's it. That's every question type on circles. If you found this video helpful, then please subscribe to my channel for similar videos and share it with your friends so that they can also get benefited from similar videos. And I'll see you in the next video.